Welcome back to the Stretch the Floor podcast. I'm Matthew. I'm here as always with Venushan, and we are recording right in the middle of NBA Summer League. The news kind of died down from free agency, but there's been a lot of pretty interesting performance from Summer League, especially on the Raptors side. So we're going to get into that. But there actually was one signing, a pretty surprising signing. Dennis Schroeder, after having turned down a 4-year, $84 million contract from the Lakers midseason, ended up signing a 1-year, 5.6 was it 5.6 with the Celtics for 1 year. First of all, what happened? Why did his value go down so much? Has his agent been fired yet? And how's he going to fit in with the Celtics?
Yeah, the question is like, did the Knicks offer him that 17 million that they gave to Evan Fournier? Like, obviously, we don't know all that information, right? But they couldn't like foresee a Kemba buyout happening and stuff. So maybe they did offer him that 17 million and he turned that down too, right? So we don't know what he turned down and like how much total he turned down. We just know that one Lakers offer, but he probably turned down other offers as well. And as the offseason ticked away, all his suitors just went and got other point guards. Kemba Walker became available, which really kind of messed them up. And everyone just slowly got guards. And yeah, like he was left to take this 1-year contract. And he's going to play great, like for the value of his money. But losing 60 million is going to have a mental effect. And it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah, it's going to be tough playing on a 1-year deal. Like you got to prove it. You got to have a good year.
And
that's what he did with the Lakers last, or like he was on an expiring with the Lakers last year, and he had the opportunity to get himself that security, but obviously
80 million,
down 80 mil. But I do think if he does stay healthy, I think he fits in really nicely on the Celtics team, and he probably moves Josh Richardson to the bench. He'll just be able to play off Tatum and Brown. I think he'll be able to do his thing, and I think he'll have a pretty good year.
Yeah, and like the other players that turned down this big money, they've kind of never been the same since they turned it down. Victor Oladipo, but that's usually because of injury. Like this is kind of one of the cases where it's not injury related. Like Victor Oladipo is kind of injury related. DeMarcus Cousins was injury related.
Yep.
The only one that wasn't kind of injury related was Nerlens Noel. He turned that huge contract offer from the Dallas Mavericks. No one offered him something. He signed for like qualifying and then played minimums until just now, where he got the 10 per for 3 years. So it took him a couple of years, to get the confidence back, to get, the playing time back, the right coach, all that stuff. So, we only have a limited space to see it, but usually a lot of players' confidence gets completely destroyed. But he's in a situation where even if he doesn't have the confidence that he used to have, he should still perform, better than 5 million because, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, he's just going to come in there, catch and shoot, play good defense next to Marcus Smart. So he's not even the best defender anymore. Like all the pressure's off him.
Yeah.
He just needs to be like a better Danny Green and he does his job. So, which I think he can do. And he's way better, like attacking. So this obviously is a great sign for the Celtics. I think he's going to outplay this contract. I think they should have gave him, apparently he wanted that player option. I think he did get the player option at the end of the day, but I think they should have really tried to get like a 2-year thing locked in, but they didn't want to be hard capped. So that's why they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But this is very interesting to see. Marcus Smart's contract negotiations also going on. So that's interesting to see too. But this bumps the Celtics up now from like, I think they're in contention with Atlanta, with the Knicks, the Bulls, as like that second tier East teams, because he's going to be solid there and he's just going to help the bench too, because now Josh Richardson's the sixth man on that team.
Yeah, it's just another guy who like you feel like can create offense. Like he can come off the bench if you want. He's going to be able to just like play his role, nothing too crazy. He's not going to be doing too much like primary point guard playmaking for them, I don't think. But basically just be better Danny Green. I think he's totally up to doing that, and he has a much longer track record of success than Nerlens Noel at the point where he turned down the money. So I'm not worried about that. It's just 1 year. Like at his age, he can't really afford to get a big injury. Like knock on wood. Let's just hope that this year goes smoothly. Because if it does, I think I agree with you. He is really important for the Celtics and does bump them up in the East rankings for sure.
Yeah, and he's just gonna always have suitors because he's always gonna be like a solid player. It's just a lot of the words that he mentioned, like, oh, I want to start, I need to start. I need to have the ball in my hands more. Like those words and those phrases just kind of shy you away from
Yeah.
like teams, because like if a guy comes in and says I'll do whatever he needs to win,
Yeah.
like you want to pay him the big bucks because he's going to try to fit in with your stars, but you don't want a guy that just comes in and be like, I'm the third option while he's like
Right.
actually like the fifth best player on the team, because that's gonna like cause some chemistry issues and all that stuff. So that's why he probably another reason why he lost all that money. So hopefully he knows that now. It's a little more humbler the way he approaches. Maybe he keeps some of that stuff to himself, or maybe he just talks to his teammate and avoids the media. But he knows who he is now. He lost his money. He big price he paid. He for 21 pair to 5 pair, lost 16 million to learn this mistake. But it's a good example for the rest of the league, the rest of the young guys in the league, and hopefully we get a lot more humble Dennis Schroeder that comes out and just feasts next year.
Yeah, that attitude scares you off at like 18 mil, 16 mil, but then like at a certain
not
point, you get
6.
down to
Yeah.
6 mil. It's like, okay, like I think we can deal with it.
Yeah, the talent outweighs
Yeah,
the attitude at that point.
yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much all like the news. Is there anyone else who hasn't signed yet? Are we waiting on anyone?
Lauri Markkinen is,
yeah.
And Josh Hart. Surprisingly, restricted free agent Josh Hart has not been re-signed. I think he is a little overrated by NBA fans because he's not the greatest 3-point shooter. Like people just think he's a 40% 3-point shooter. He's not. And he's a small forward who's like 6'4". He's like a shooting guard type that plays small forward. He grabs a lot of rebounds, so he plays big for sure. Interesting rumor I saw. I think it was more of a fan rumor than an actual like from a reliable source, but the Josh Hart for Buddy Hield swap. Just get a lot more shooting onto the Pelicans, and then on the Kings' point of view, you want to start Tyrese Halliburton, and Josh Hart is a guy that is willing to come off the bench. He's not going to make a big deal of it as someone like Buddy Hield would, who would let the whole world know that he doesn't want this and cause locker room issues. But Josh Hart's someone who's willing to come off the bench and be a solid glue guy. So we could see that happening as well. I wish that happens because Buddy Hield, Zion is like the perfect fit for him. Just get those perfect wide open threes. Yeah. And then Tyrese Halliburton needs to start next season. He's too good not to start. So you need to free up that spot. So I hope that swap happens. Lauri Markkinen, just take the 11 million a year is his qualifying. Just take that 1 year, man. Come off the bench, try to do your best, try to feast. Man. But yeah, just take that 1 year, 11 million, bro.
If they could bring Markkinen back on 1 year, 11 mil, just man, that team would just go from like that. That might just be like the cherry on top. That team's already fun.
Solid 6 man.
Add another solid 6 man who could shoot and everything like that. Man, that'd be crazy. But then on the other hand, if he does end up going to Charlotte, I would also like that fit too. So we'll see.
The question is like how can he go to Charlotte, because they spent their last 13 million on Oubre, so it kind of seems like they're done.
Yeah.
The other team, the San Antonio Spurs, they kind of just went with Al-Farouq Aminu and Thaddeus Young over him. Yeah, and they re-signed Zach Collins, so that's kind of done. There's no other team that wants like a swap with him. Maybe a small forward who's making like 10 million. I don't know. Like the only other team that was interested in him is like the Timberwolves. There was rumors about that, but I don't know anyone on their team that's making like 10 million. Like maybe Juancho. If they get Juancho and Culver, that's a horrible deal for the Timberwolves.
That's horrible.
Why would you trade Culver for a restricted free agent? But if you get like Juancho and like someone else to match the cap, that makes sense. I don't like it for the Timberwolves. I just mentioned it because he's rumored there. Him and Cat as your power forward and center. Oh, Swiss cheese on defense.
Yeah. No, now that you say it, if that really are the only options, then he's probably just
take
back
the money
in Chicago, and that add him to that team, add him to that 7-man rotation, and that's just gets even more fun. So yeah, let's hope that happens. Moving on. So obviously Summer League has been going on. I think it's going to be coming to a close soon, but obviously as Raptor fans, Scotty Barnes has played 3 or 4 games. Precious Achiuwa has played 3 or 4 games for the Raptors. Malachi Flynn. These guys have been really, really performing well in Summer League. I know it's just Summer League, but all 3 of them are averaging pretty much 17 points a game. Scotty Barnes is coming off his best game in a Summer League Raptors uniform, 23, 8, and 5. He hit a 3. Obviously, he had a good first game with 18 points, hit a three. Like, again, it is just summer league, but I'm starting to have a feeling that we could be seeing like a bench mob 2.0 this year with the Raptors, because Malachi Flynn, he was already improving in the second half of last year. If he added some weight, which it looks like he did, improves, gets more aggressive and confident, he can play off Dragic if Dragic is there in the off the bench. Precious Achiuwa is hitting threes. He already has like 3 or 4 highlight dunks that have been like just blowing up on Instagram. Looks like he's just playing his butt off with energy in summer league for some reason, which is I love.
Which is good,
Yeah, and same with Scotty Barnes, just like doing his thing on offense, but always bringing it on defense, making plays happen, making highlights happen on defense. This looks like it could be a really fun bench, like especially when Pascal comes back and he is starting, and then Barnes moves to the bench, and with Boucher and everything. Like, how are we feeling about this bench?
Yeah, like if Dragic plays on this bench, which he says he is reporting to the Raptors, and he says he is going to do his job and be professional, and he did apologize for his comments. So if Dragic plays on the bench and Dragic is like the sixth man and just sets everything, in tail, with Barnes being seventh, Flynn being eighth, or actually Barnes being seventh, Boucher being eighth, Flynn being like ninth, and then like Precious being the 10th man, like that's a really deep, good team. It's really young, exciting, obviously besides Dragic, and it's going to be very interesting. Everyone could kind of shoot. Even Precious is showing, a little bit of that jumper. Scotty Barnes, his jumper, I like it. It's good. He seems like he rushes it a little bit, but it's definitely improving from someone who came into the league like can't shoot. Like that was one of the things that was said about him.
Yeah,
it's definitely improved massively from his college days.
Yeah, you can tell right away
to like the first day of summer league, right?
Yeah.
So that's improved. People forget how good Dragic is. He's probably in contention for 6 man of the year. If he plays like enough games, it's usually his health that kind of prevents him from getting that award. So we're gonna have easily a 6 man of the year candidate. We're gonna have from Flynn looks like one of the best backup point guards from his point guard, like from his summer league play. He looks dominant. He looks quick. He looks like a mini Freddie.
Yeah.
Which is perfect, right? Because if Fred VanVleet comes out of the game, you get mini Freddie in, who's the same height. He's just younger. That's why he's called mini Freddie. But he comes in, he hoops, and he's going to be amazing. You have a 4th pick with unlimited potential who looks like he could drop 20. Obviously, he's going to have ups and downs and inconsistency issues from his rookie year, but he looks really great with high potential. You have someone in Boucher who was talked in 6 man of the year last year. People forget that, but to start the season when the Raptors, before they got hit with COVID and they were 4th in the standings, Boucher was 3rd in 6 man of the year conversations?
Yeah.
He was easily in that thing. Obviously, Jordan Clarkson, the guy who won it, was already 1st, but Boucher was talked about. He was like, oh man, this guy, he might get that 3rd ranking. So that was really fun. And add him on that, he's going to be great. And then Precious, like this can be a good team, man. And I didn't even mention Freddie Gillespie. A lot of people are hating on Freddie Gillespie right now because he's having bad summer league games. But I'm telling people just to relax, let him play besides like Fred VanVleet and really good point guards who get him the ball right in front of him, and he'll have good just off energy to play. But man, this bench looks fun, looks interesting. We need him on Serge Ibaka's cook-off show again. Bench mob 2.0. Man, it's fun. It's definitely gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah. So so you consider that bench, add it to like not one of the best starting fives in the East, but a starting five with potentially 3 20-point scorers and Fred, OG, hopefully, and Pascal once he comes back. Gary Trent Jr. is probably going to be like 16 at the minimum, probably.
Yeah, he averaged 15.7 last year. So
and
16 to 18.
Yeah, and then Kem Birch, who's not going to do anything like crazy, but he's going to be a solid.
Do his job.
Just do his job as a solid 5-man, if undersized. That's going to be the question, the size at the center position. But with Precious, like bringing that energy, looking like maybe like a Montrezl Harrell type of player for us, with just like the different looks we can throw at teams.
Yeah,
maybe like at least I was being a little too harsh on the Raptors, and with the coaching that we know that they're going to have with the team identity and culture, being back in Toronto with fans, like you talked about last time, maybe this team could actually push for that second tier, like maybe the tail end of the second tier in the East.
Yeah, like we could definitely see this team, competing with the Wizards, the Pacers, the Hornets, all those type of teams for that like 8 and play in, maybe even 7 or 6, squeak up there.
Yeah.
And like as Fred VanVleet said, like this team was a fourth before COVID hit, and everyone's, like literally the best player, Pascal Siakam's body got destroyed and lost 15 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So before that, they were like the fourth seed, and now they just upgraded their center position. They got a lot more deeper. Obviously, the loss of Kyle Lowry is huge. That's why we have him, instead of being fourth, we have him dropping down to 8 in the play-in.
Yeah.
We're like, we respect him, and we're acknowledging how good he is. But to discredit what Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam's like improvements, I think that's foolish. I think the rest of the league is not looking at Raptors and they're like, oh, easy game, which we might be looking at like, when you look at like the Orlando Magic, players aren't going to say it, but
yeah,
it's considered an easy game, right? I don't think anyone's looking at the Raptors and like easy game, pencil it for a dub. So it's a fun team. It's competitive, and they could win against anyone on a given night.
Yeah, no, totally. Like outside of Embiid, I guess count Giannis in there. He's not a 5, but count Giannis. Jokic, yeah. How many times are they going to be playing the Nuggets, right? Like twice.
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
Like what teams are really going to give the Raptors too much trouble size-wise, right? Like most of the time they're going to be able to get by with the size they have. That's what we saw towards the end of last year. Like their size was way worse than it was now. Like for the first 3 quarters of last year, and they really struggled. But I really do think it's going to be better, and it's not going to show too much except in those most extreme cases.
Yeah, like you play Embiid 4 times.
Yeah.
You play Giannis 4 times, and you play Jokic twice. That's 10 games. And then obviously there's other good bigs too, but we know those other bigs, you could put a Precious, a Birch on them and just have like higher energy, a Boucher, like high energy, high rotation guys who are just going to, constantly be in their face, pick up fouls, obviously. And, we just have so much of those guys to rotate in. And we're just going to be like so much different looks at those centers that we're going to cause them to have difficult games, right?
Yeah.
So it's not back in the day when we had Boucher, Alex Len. I'm not Boucher. We had Alex Len, Baines. Boucher couldn't even play the 5 because he was so skinny.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had those 2 guys who aren't even in the league anymore. So we could tell how big of this improvement is, and people are really underrating how much Birch and Precious are going to be an improvement at the center spot compared to last year.
Yeah, and just like forgetting about the center spot for a second, Fred VanVleet for his size is one of the best 6-foot defenders in the league.
Yeah.
Gary Trent Jr. played some really nice defense when he came here last year. OG Anunoby, he's
one of the best defenders,
defense caliber player. Pascal Siakam, really good. Like
was all defense before he became the first option.
He's more of a good team defender now than a one-on-one defender, but
like
perimeter wise, like I think this team is still going to be really good, and we know they're going to give it their all every night. So definitely don't count out the Raptors, as some people, including ourselves, a couple of weeks ago were doing. Don't count out the Raptors this year.
Yeah, I think the internal development from summer league and stuff kind of made us realize, hey man, the Raptors do know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's why the phrase is commonly said through the Raptors subreddit, the Raptors Twitter is trust in the Sai, trust in the process, but trust in the Sai. And you just got to trust in the Sai, man. This guy knows what he's doing. That's why it's highly sought after.
Yeah. And it seems like Precious, like he's posting his highlights on Instagram with like proud to be in the 6, like representing the 6. That's what he's always saying. Like you said, Scotty Barnes looks like he's hyped to be in Toronto. So just like all this positivity. Yeah. All this positivity surrounding the team being back in Toronto. I think there's going to be good vibes, and like, I think it's going to be a fun team this year.
Yeah. This definitely is a team that's going to be getting like people up and out of their chairs, with the videos. Like we see all these scenes, Scotty Barnes, talking about in the Toronto slang, using like nice it, fam, lie, all those like words that Toronto people use. You're definitely getting into the culture, which we love to see. And when these guys have those highlight plays, get involved with Drake, get the younger audience involved, it's definitely gonna be fun to see. And we're definitely building a culture and a group of team that people are gonna fall in love with. It's kind of like the young DeRozan and Lowry days, something that happened when we were like pretty much kids, and we loved it. And I'm pretty sure the kids nowadays are gonna love this too.
Yeah, exactly. Just have a respectable season this year, and then like just continue to build it forward next year. And you never know what can happen.
Get another high pick. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you never know. So other summer league stuff. It seems like every night there's a Liangelo Ball highlight package posted to Instagram by ESPN or Bleach Report or something. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched like actual full games too much
Yeah.
of the Hornets summer league, but like, do you think a guy like Liangelo Ball is actually going to find himself with a contract, maybe even with his brother on Charlotte?
He only scored 8 points, and we've seen it more than like anyone else, right?
Yeah,
Like, how much have you seen of Scotty Barnes 23?
yeah,
Like, not that
yeah.
much compared to Liangelo Ball's
No,
8 points. I think I see all 8 points that he scored. So it's just another ball, brother. He
yeah,
brings in a lot of names, and he brings in as much names as what, even more names than Cade Cunningham right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
So like, he's just the most popular guy, and that's why he gets posted a lot.
yeah.
He is a good shooter. He is like a good NBA player. I think people realize that. I think he should get a G League contract at least. You
Yes.
know, play on the G League, try to prove himself, trying to improve. But it shows that he is like NBA level, which is good to know. And I hope the Hornets give him a contract, but I don't know. And this is what I always
Yeah.
say: if you want to keep your superstar guy happy, and your 15th man on the roster could do that, kind of how Giannis's brother does it to the Bucks. The 15 man, he keeps your superstar happy. He keeps his superstar loving the city. He keeps the superstar loving the organization and the team. Do it, because that's how
Yeah.
important a superstar is, right?
Yeah.
So if you believe LaMelo's that interesting and that big of a superstar, do it, man. Give him his brother on the 15th man. Make sure the city's happy. Make sure the organization's happy. Make LaMelo happy. Like, that should be the key. So I
Yeah.
say they should do it.
Yeah, I agree. And LeVar hasn't been as much, like, you don't even see him anymore, right? Like,
No,
compared to
you
the
don't.
first couple of years, you don't see him. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't, yeah, I don't really see, if that's what LaMelo wants, then, yeah, anything to make him
he's a
happy for sure.
superstar. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So Cade Cunningham, he got off to a little bit of a rough start in his first summer league game, but just the other day he shot 7 for 10 from three, or at least he was at one point. Uh, I think he's like probably runaway favorite for rookie of the year. Obviously, Jalen Green is gonna have something to
Green.
say
Yeah,
about that. But this guy's gonna come in and shoot 40% plus from three right away. I think. I don't like. Doesn't matter what the spacing is. Doesn't like. I think this guy's gonna be like 18 points probably rookie year at least.
yeah.
Like, I don't know, 18-7, is that too much? 18-6 maybe
Oh,
assists.
that'll be a
I
great
don't know.
season. But I think what we have to realize is, on these summer leagues teams, yes, they are the best players potentially maybe in the
Yeah.
whole summer league, right? I think maybe Patrick Williams has something to say about that. But Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green, they should be the best players in the summer league. And when they move to the NBA, they both have really good partners alongside with them.
Yes.
Jalen Green having John Wall and Christian Wood to help him out and really alleviate pressure off him. And Cade Cunningham having Kelly Olynyk, Grant to alleviate some pressure off him. Both those guys could score.
Mm-hmm.
Grant could score 20 to 25, and Kelly Olynyk should be able to score 15. So, that, and Sadiq Bays should be able to hit a
Yep.
couple threes and play great defense. So those guys should alleviate the pressure off these rookies. It's not going to be like a Jalen Suggs type situation where kind of just there with a bunch of other young guys, and it's going to be a lot of pressure on him. So both those guys should have good efficiency numbers, should have high point numbers, and they're primed to have one of the best rookie seasons since maybe like Luka.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, Cade is going to a great situation. Jalen Green too, like you said, going to
Same,
a
yeah.
great situation. Because last year, Anthony Edwards, I guess he
Went to a
he actually went.
tough situation
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Like, the talent
coming
on the
off the
roster was pretty
bench.
good, but off the bench and the coach they ended up firing halfway through the season. Not the
Yeah,
best situation. LaMelo went to a nice situation. So, like,
yeah,
that's what I'm hoping we see from Cade, right? Like, we weren't like too high on Charlotte. We didn't think they were going to be like in contention for the playoffs or the play-in,
playing.
like
Yeah,
when they drafted him. But we just saw how well that team kind of like mixed, like fit together. And I have a feeling we could be seeing that with the Pistons. Maybe not success-wise with Houston in the Western Conference, but
yeah,
at least for their development, I think they're going to really good spots, which makes me happy. Yeah.
yeah. And I think Green is really kind of excite people, and I think he has that personality where, like, Anthony Edwards is gonna get a lot of the young fans
Yeah.
interested in him. Anthony Edwards with like all those like videos and stuff, he was getting fans really interested in him. All those like off season like report talks on the sidelines, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
going well. I
Yeah.
think Green's a similar guy. He's gonna get that for him. I think Cade's gonna be more on the quiet side. At
Yeah.
least that's how it seems so far. So they're gonna have a good like duality, and it's gonna be a good discussion the whole time through. But everyone in Detroit always loves Cade. With him wearing the sunglasses and all that stuff. So he's a legend already, and I have him as rookie of your favorite. You do too. We're really high on him. So
yeah,
he just has to live up to potential. His potential.
Yeah, and I think he will. Even like floor wise, like his ceiling is like there's no ceiling for him.
Yeah,
that's how good he is. But floor wise, I don't like. He's going to be a 40% 3-point shooter at worst, and a good team defender at worst, and like a pretty good playmaker. Like that's a borderline like max contract player like at his size already. So I'm not worried about him at all. And it seems like Jalen Green has that like chip on his shoulder attitude, saying like I was the number one pick, I should have been number one.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's gonna be really exciting to watch those two, that storyline develop, over the season. Is there anyone else who do you think you would throw in there like as a potential guy who could challenge? Yeah,
I think Suggs is just gonna have like crazy like numbers, but his efficiency is just gonna be awful.
Yeah,
because like Fultz, I don't think is 100% for the start of the season. I think Jonathan Isaac is also not 100%, but if he is 100%, he's gonna be load managed at 25. Also there, I'll be tanking again.
Yeah.
So that's why the load management is there. But yeah, so with Fultz and Jonathan Isaac load managing, it's basically gonna be like Cole Anthony, Suggs, who's gonna start at the small forward? No, Mo Bamba at the center.
Yeah, at center, yeah.
Wagner and
T. Ross.
T. Ross. Kuki as well, RJ Hampton. They have some young guys, but they're gonna get blown out most games. And Suggs gonna have a tough year, man. He's gonna get double. He's gonna get trapped. He's gonna have a tough year, but he's gonna put up the numbers at least. He'll have like 18 and 6 a game. Yeah, he'll just shoot like 30% and have like 8 turnovers, but he'll put up the numbers.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think that pretty much covers all the news from Summer League, all the news from free agency. Like you said, that we're just waiting for that Lauri Markkanen domino to fall, and hopefully that happens like relatively soon. If news stays slow, next week we'll probably be starting our top 10 list like we did last year. One of my favorite things to do, go through every position, probably start with centers, all 5 positions, and then do a top 10 overall. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Check us out on Instagram at Stretch the Floor Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, STF Clips, for the best clips from the podcast. But most importantly, subscribe to the podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and review because it all really helps. Again, thank you, and we'll see you guys next week.